one all-time draft bust, Ryan Leaf.
It's an age-old question in the NFL draft. It was the finished product versus the upside. Ryan Leaf was seen as the guy who might climb farther, and Peyton Manning was seen as the guy who was more NFL ready at that moment.
You know, initially, it wasn't even a deadlock. Leaf was the leader because the rocket laser arm that Peyton Manning talks about in those commercials, Leaf had that.
They go over the middle, touchdown!
As the process went along, the focus shifted to what up here.
The question was asked in the players' interviews. If you were the first overall pick, what would you do? And Peyton gave Peyton kind of an answer. Well,
I worked hard during the week, that I practiced hard and I studied hard.
Ryan says, I got to admit to you, I would go to Vegas and we'd have a week in Vegas. That should have been the red flag right there, that maybe this wasn't the guy that you wanted to draft.
San Diego held the second pick in the 1998 draft, one spot behind Indianapolis, who also needed a quarterback.
We would rather have taken Peyton. I talked to Bill Polian to see if we could trade up to that #1 pick, which he wouldn't.
The San Diego Chargers select quarterback Ryan Leaf.
Hey Ryan, like you, Bledsoe, and Rick Meyer, are you forever linked with Peyton Manning?
Probably, I hope so.
Nobody here was disappointed that they were going to get Ryan Leaf instead of Peyton Manning. I think the general consensus was that the Chargers might be getting the guy that had the better future. And I remember the next day as well when Leaf came in from an all-nighter in Vegas, which should have been a red flag at the time.
Thanks to my new coaches, my new owners and everything. It's a privilege for me to be up here with them. I feel like I need to reward them in some way. So hopefully a Super Bowl ring or two can do that in the next few years.
Leaf was immediately named the Chargers starter and won his first 2 games.
Near side, coming back, touchdown, Ryan Still.
He played so well that I think he felt like he could do anything and that, you know, maybe this wasn't so tough.
I thought, well, that's good. It'll give the guy confidence. And the Kansas City game came, and it was a disaster.
Leaf to throw, hit, pass, batted down, they're going to rule it a fumble. Leaf steps up, throws over the middle, pass intercepted again.
I always remember he was 1 of 15 for 4 yards with 5 turnovers.
I even went off the field with Ryan. I said, Ryan, just go in the dressing room. Just tell your teammates, say, hey, you guys, that one's on me. Let's get back to work. I thought that'd be the easiest thing to do.
He had a little incident in the locker room where he yelled at a cameraman who happened to be a club employee who was just trying to do his job. I wrote a very small note about it the next day that I just felt that Leaf was out of line.
Jay came in to interview him, and he went off.
Don't talk to me, all right? Knock it off!
Later that day, after he yelled at me, he read an apology on camera.
I misdirected my anger after the Kansas City game. I was extremely disappointed in my performance, and I let it show.
He read the piece of paper, and then he crumpled it up and threw it back into his locker.
So sorry if that sounded kind of rehearsed.
I thought somewhere along the line he'd just come into somebody, the coach, somebody say, you know what, I've screwed up, but it never happened.
This was a guy who was woefully immature and not ready for the spotlight, not ready for responsibility or leadership.
She's in love with me. In love with me. Look at me.
He came in as if he was the savior for the organization. It was really disturbing, you know, because you could see it coming and thought, wow.
In 2000, the Chargers lost 15 games.
Deep down the right sideline, and the pass intercepted by Sparks.
Ryan Leaf threw a miserable pass.
Leaf won just 4 games in 3 years as a starter.
4th interception on Leaf.
At a price of $8 million per win, San Diego could no longer afford our #1 draft bust.
I think it was very much good riddance. This guy was going to turn the franchise around, and instead he helped drive them even further into the depths of the NFL. I mean, they were the worst team in the league that year. But they got the #1 pick, and they end up with LaDainian Tomlinson, who has helped resurrect the franchise.
Left side, and he will gallop into the end zone. Chargers